What's going on, friends? It's Friday, and I thought we'd have a nice, fun live stream today. Hey, hit me up in chat. I was talking to my friend Mark last time he was on our last live stream yesterday, and he was like, "Hey, I was taking the dogs out for a walk, and I saw you pop up, and I just hit it on my phone and listened to Wes and Jimmy and Robert and Will and the crew as I was taking the dogs for a walk." I'm like, right on. That's awesome. Like, what a better way to go. So give me a shout out. Let me know what you're doing right now at this time, at this place. Maybe you're actually fervently watching on the screen. We're looking at each other right now, which is awesome. Maybe you are just doing your thing and staying busy, and you saw me on the live stream and you figured, you know what? I'm just going to like tune in as I listen. So I want to know what you're doing. I want to know what your weekend is going to look like. Give me some shout out in chat. What you got going this weekend? I think a lot of people are freezing, but I've had it kind of nice here in Tampa in the 70-degree weather, and it's been pretty awesome. So a couple big things we're going to talk about today. First, we're going to talk a little bit about a brand new threat that is emerging. It's one that's been covered a little bit loosely over the past few months, but we're seeing an uptick. And so I wanted to cover it. It's something you need to know about. I'm not going to get super in depth. I mean, look, I'm no John Hammond over here, right? I'm struggling to make do as good as I can on my own. But we're going to talk about something awesome, really serious that you should know about. And it's an opportunity, if you're an MSP, to get in front of your clients about this emerging threat vector. So we're going to talk about that. And then also, we're going to talk about Empath Cyber. I've been slowly releasing the news, slowly showing people what we're all about. I'm going to give you just a hint. I'm going to give you a peek at what Empath is all about. And really excited. If you're an MSP, MSSP, or even outside of that industry, and you just want to grow in cyber knowledge, I got your back. I got you. I'm going to help you. We're going to talk about that as well. All right. Michael, checking in. Been schnizzing. Murray State, right on. Good to see you on here, Michael. The rest of you, awesome folks. There's a whole bunch of you. I'm seeing you. I'm watching you right here in the live stream with me. I know you're on. So say hi. Let me know where you're connecting in from, or let me know what you're doing this weekend, or let me know what you're doing right now as you're listening. Thanks for joining. Don't be shy. Say hi. I rhymed there. That's pretty awesome. All right. So we're going to talk about a couple things. I figured I'd start with Empath. I want to start with the little bit of the behind the scenes of what's going on here. So one of the reasons I started Empath Cyber was I realized through the years that MSPs really need help, and so do MSSPs. How do we communicate cybersecurity effectively, especially when clients are like, yo, no, I ain't paying for that. Not going to happen. Not going to do it. Don't need it. Don't want it. Not interested. That's tough. And a lot of times when we bring on talent in our organization, we struggle. The reason we struggle is because we don't feel like we have the authenticity and the authority to speak to cybersecurity. And I get it, right? I've been practicing security pretty much my whole career. It's comfortable for me, but for many others, it's not. I get it. So we're going to talk about how Empath is solving for that. Michael's saying it's snowing, taking back to Phoenix, right, my friend? I understand that. I had a good time in Phoenix. Didn't spend enough time in there. Mike checking in from Milner. Hey, Milner's awesome. I know you folks. I did help you guys out. Yep, it was awesome coming to see you guys in the Atlanta office. Hope you all doing well there. I'm sure you are. My good friend Eric saying hi. Man, I had a great chat with Eric this week in Orlando at Zero Trust World. Really enjoy getting to know him. If you guys don't know Eric, make sure you connect with him on LinkedIn. Really awesome MSP doing some great things. And Patrick, great to see you on as well. Patrick's become a really good friend of mine over the past few weeks as well, and really months as well. And I love, Patrick, your pursuit to learn cyber. It's been fun spending time with you. So let's talk about this a little bit. I think one of the big problems that people have in cyber, especially at an organizational level, is we're not all rowing the same boat, the same direction in the same way. You might have a couple leaders in cybersecurity that really understand it, that are doing a good job with it, but you don't have everybody in the same pace, in the same boat, going the same direction. And we got to solve that. We got to bring consistency into cybersecurity. So that's a big problem that we don't have. And, I think the other problem that we don't have is sometimes we have certain people that, for good reasons, they stand out. They're like really, really good at cyber. They can communicate the problems. They can talk to clients all day long about cyber, but it's a non-scalable problem when you just have one or two people in the org that are comfortable with cyber and everyone else is not, right? And I mean across the board, not just like VCIOs, but across the board, right? You talk about, salespeople, account reps, success people, directors, managers, even owners, CEOs. We've got to get better. We got to get a lot more consistent. And so that's what we're really trying to solve for in Empath. And so what I created Empath Cyber for is not just the technical people, right? I love you technical people. I came out of a technical background myself, but it's for the everyone else's of the world. I keep stealing Huntress's term a lot lately. You know, they always talk about security for the 99%, right? Because we can't all go afford these super expensive multi-million dollar security programs that Bank of America has. We don't all have that, right? What about the 99%? And it's the same way in security when it comes to education, training, building knowledge. Is there's the gap that's for the rest of us. And so if you're one of those people, you're not technical, what do you do to learn? Right? It's difficult. There's not enough sources out there where you're like, yeah, I mean, sure, I could learn about some very technical concepts and I could go into YouTube and learn that stuff. But what I need to know is how to talk to a client that doesn't want to budge on security. What I need to know is how to defend a security program. What I need to know is to understand how we've turned a security strategy at our MSP and how I can communicate that. Right? Those are the things that we seem to be missing across the board. Chris, great to see you on. We need to catch up and talk. It's been a few weeks since we've last talked, but I'm glad you're here to learn about MSPs and MSSPs. Chris is doing some really cool things around helping solve the noise that comes in our alerting stack. And so if you're one of those MSPs and wanting to solve for that, reach out to Chris. He's doing some really cool things. I'm sure he'd love to show you what he's building. So that's what I've created Empath for. I've created it for the rest of us. And I want you to take a look at these bullet points. If these things resonate with you, then Empath Cyber is for you. If you're really struggling, like cybersecurity is hard. I don't fully understand. I came into my MSP and I'm trying to get better at it, but I just don't fully grasp it, and let alone communicating it, right? Don't even ask me to do that because that's even more difficult, right? And how do I even get anyone to convert? How do I get them to agree to move forward? Those are hard discussions. If that's you, Empath is for you. That's why I've created. It's for your organization. How do we train people up? We feel like everything's kind of finger in the wind, right? Is that right over here? I think it's right. One of the most common questions I get from people is, can you take a look at my stack? Is it right? What do you think about it? Am I missing something? I get it. It's a great question. So that is something that I think is something to solve for. Jimmy, great to see you on, my brother. Man, you guys know how much I love Jimmy. He's awesome. How can we help Empath get in front of more people? You know, I think just spreading the good word, Jimmy, and I need to get you in. I need to get you involved too. I think the more people I get involved in Empath, the more awesome it gets. So we need to talk. Let's sync up really soon. And I'd love to get you in, let you jump into the platform and see it alongside, and maybe even help me produce some things. I'd love to have you really, really involved in it as well, my friend. So thank you for even asking. It's very kind of you. So let's go on a little bit more. A few more things I wanted to talk about, kind of the makeup of what it is. I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, but I've got courses. Courses are lasered into things that you need to know and learn, and they're here for you whenever you need them. Very commonly, people will be like, yeah, I jump into the course and I come back to it a few months later when I need another little piece out of it. So you got all kinds of very rich courses, all video driven, all built for you. A lot of thought leadership stuff across the board. I'm going to show you some of this that just, man, it's really, it's focused for you, and you're not going to find a lot of this kind of stuff really anywhere else. And then if it's the content that's great, it's the live stuff we do together that's really the hook in. We do Ask Me Anythings. We can literally talk. I don't have all the answers, but I certainly am happy to jump in and answer questions. We also do some really cool events, and I'm going to show you some of those. So without any further ado, I'm going to show you. This is Empath Cyber right here. And I'm logged into sort of like the feed. It just shows you the new things that have been happening. I just produced a video yesterday on the tax season. I'm a big believer that you need to have content that's client facing, that you can actually take the content, share it with your clients, and let them see, like, yeah, that's really good. Tax season is in front of us. So I produced a video of 5 things that businesses need to be doing to protect themselves from tax filing fraud. And what's cool about this is a lot of this comes back to things that are relevant to you as an MSP. So I'm giving you this video that you can take into your own hands and you can share it with your clients. And I actually speak at this video as if I work for you. So I don't say this is Wes at Empath Cyber. I say this is just Wes at your MSP. And so you can literally use this video that's right here, and you can share this thing out with all of your clients. You can put it in your social media. Heck, I don't care. You can rip this out and steal it from me. Do it. I don't care. I dare you. Put your own logo in front of it. and use this and be relevant in front of your clients. Like get them a conversation started. Like, yeah, you mentioned this social engineering thing. I don't think we'd be doing very good if someone hit a tax fraud attack on us. So can you help us with that? Yes, I can. That's why we're here as an MSP. That's why we made this video for you. So I got a lot of that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of things that are in here. One of these events, I want to pull out this event in particular. This one I am crazy excited about, guys. I'm a huge fan of the Cyber Defense Matrix. I've got Sunil's book right over there, autographed by the man himself. And in this course, event, I've got Andrew Solsky. He is from a super cool MSP over in Atlanta, Proto Technology, and he's going to be talking to us about some of the very cool cutting edge things he's doing about incorporating the cyber defense matrix into sales conversations. He's doing some real, telling you guys, I've not seen anybody else do what he's doing. And so we're going to unpack that. And Andrew's going to share his wisdom of how this is working, why he's able to explain to clients why they need what he's building and why it's so important. This is going to be an awesome one. And you may be like, well, wait, time out, Wes. I don't even know what the cyber defense matrix is, right? So like, I shouldn't be taking this, right? Yes, you should. And if you don't know what the cyber defense matrix is, look at this right over here in Empath. We've got courses, and you can jump right into somewhere it's on here, intro to the cyber defense matrix. And I have got everything you need to know about the cyber defense matrix right from Sunil himself. So you can understand what it is, why vendors don't solve these problems, how I can go through a mapping journey on my own, and how ultimately I can use this in my conversations with my clients. It's really exciting stuff. And what's cool is every single one of these pieces of content, what it does is it has videos attached. So it's all video driven. So I'm not going to speak over your head. You can pause and replay and watch and rewatch as you go through. This one in particular even comes with a mapping guide. I've actually got a sample mapping guide for you right here. And I do you a solid. So here's the map right here. But then I even crosswalk it to the NIST CSF. So you can even take the cybersecurity framework, which it references, and understand what things go where. I have sample vendors that sort of apply into this. I'm not endorsing those vendors, but really giving you a leg up in building through all this. So I've got courses galore. We've got events galore of Ask Me Anythings. We've done some really cool events recently. We did a really awesome one with Sean Brown and Alex Farling on how to create security assessments. If you're like, whoa, that sounds good. Well, guess what? That video is produced and it is live, or not live. It's recorded. So you can go back in and watch it at your leisure. I want you to. I've got a video on stop assuming what your clients know, right? And how to be really intentional with them. We've got one on building your very first cybersecurity event. Like, how do I do a lunch and learn or a cyber at a brewery? Like, I'm scared about that, but I'd love to be able to do a cybersecurity event focused for clients. So there's so much that's jam-packed into here. We've got projects, we've got discussion forums, we got chat going on, we got all kinds of stuff, but really tons and tons and tons of video content as well that's at your fingertips. And really the moral of the story here inside of Empath is there's so much to it, but I just want you to know we're going through the journey together. No single person, no single company has all the answers. I do not. Empath Cyber does not. But let me tell you, when we go through the journey together to say we're going to get better at this together, that's where the answer is. So if you want to join into it, let me know. I'd love to have you in. It's super simple the way that I've made this thing. So I'm going to show you one more thing. The way I've made this is it's really easy to get in. I've priced it to where it's simple, it's affordable. Literally everybody can afford to get into this thing. I didn't make it to where it breaks the bank. So if you want to get into it, just go to empathcyber.com/join. And this is basically the way it works. It's really simple. $75 and you're in. That's it. $75 a month, and you are in Empath Cyber. You get access to literally everything. If you want to bring in a lot of people in your company, you're like, hey, I need it for me, but I need it for another group of 15 folks in my org that I need them into. I've got huge discounts and you bring a lot of people in. So it's way cheaper than $75, per user. It's way, way, way cheaper. So it's very simple to get in. Just pop in there, hit the sign up now, or hit the learn more, reach out to me. And I'd love to talk to you about getting in. It's very simple. And I'm telling you, it'll take your MSP in the future, the direction where you're really trying to go. Because I've been down this journey, my friends. And that's why I created Empath. It's just sort of my heart and soul poured in. Oop, hit the wrong button. My heart and soul poured into Empath, all for you, because I really want to see you guys do better. When you do better, your clients do better. When your clients do better, we see security move forward, and it's really what we need. All right, I'm going to pause. Any questions over that? I'm going to bring up the chat overlay. Don't know if anyone's got any questions on that. You want to see more on it, reach out to me if you do. But I'm going to leave this up for just a bit in case you have any questions. So while I'm waiting for questions, let's flip over to a brand new thread. If you're just joining us, two things I wanted to talk about is Empath, just give you a bit more of a behind the scenes look at it. But then also, I wanted to talk a little bit more about something that is new and emerging. And we're starting to see some bad guys shift their attack tactics. And this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, right? Bad guys are always going to shift. As we start putting defenses in one area and it begins to work, we see them move into another direction. Now, that does not mean we give up, right? A lot of people would think, why are we even doing this security thing, right? If we're just going to stop them in one area and they're going to go somewhere else, it's sort of like water, right? Finds the path of least resistance. That's what bad guys do. Well, here's the advantage. When you stay up to date with how bad guys are moving and how they're pivoting, you have the opportunity to go plug a hole that may have existed before it becomes damaging to you. Does that make sense? So yes, bad guys are always going to pivot and evolve. But when they pivot and evolve, they have to scale up that new attack vector. And typically what happens is the victims are those that don't listen. The victims are those that forget or are not aware of what the bad guys are doing, and they're truly laggards. Let me give you an analogy. You guys know, you've ever watched those nature documentaries before? We watched one with the kids about a year ago, and it was one that was on like the safari and lions and all that kind of stuff, which is super cool, right? And they were showing a chase between a pride of lions and a whole bunch of like, whatever they are, gazelle, buffalo things. I don't think gazelles and buffaloes are even alike, right? Like a gazelle fallow, some kind of like leaping, bounding thing, right? But they were bigger than like the skinny like gazelle thing. So I don't know what they're called. I don't know. I'm not a zoologist here, okay? But here's what happened in this story. It's really interesting. So the herd sees the threat and they move together in unison. And what happened was, it's actually really difficult for the lions to go and attack and kill any of the herd, because they're all operating this big group together. Just they couldn't, so they sort of chase and steer them around. Yeah, maybe it is wildebeest. You know what, Aaron? This is why we got the smart people on the live stream, because it probably is wildebeest. Thank you. And what's kind of interesting is they couldn't do anything until something happened. Guess what that was? The lions were able to separate an older wildebeest. And as they separated it from the pride, it couldn't keep up. And they were able to corner it off. And they were able to get it to, they were able to slow it down and exhaust it. And unfortunately, they ate it. They got it. And that's just sort of how nature works, right? But it's kind of visceral. And the kids are like, whoa, that's crazy, Dad. Like nature. I'm glad we don't live like that. I'm like, well, I am too, guys. I really am. But here's what struck me is the laggards get left behind. The rest of the pack was safe and fine. It was the laggards that get left behind. And so as I jump into this new threat, I'm not showing you this threat because you got to be like totally paranoid or panicking over it. No, just know, don't be a laggard. Use this to say, what are we doing about it? Let me get in front of this. So as this threat emerges, guess what? You're in front of it. It's no big deal. So we're going to do that. I'm going to show you that. Patrick, is Empath more for the technical folks, or can it be helpful for us non-smart folks, non-smart people in sales? Well, Patrick, first of all, you are not non-smart. I've spent enough time with you to know you are a very brilliant guy. So actually, no, Empath is built for everybody, but it's focused on you. And the reason it's focused on non-technical people is because that's where the help needs. That's where we're at, right? Most non-technical people, Patrick, like you, are like, where do I go next? I could go after my CISSP. I could go watch some very intentional, like hacking YouTube videos and great stuff, but that's not what I need. What I need is the stuff I showed you in Empath, right? How do I build this? How do I message it? How to get more effective at it? How to get onboarded, right? So Empath is for you, Patrick. It's for the people, specifically for you, for the people that need help that are less technical or non-technical. So great question. Glad you asked, because yeah, it's 100% for you. It's not going to be over your head. That's why I built it. Okay, so let's jump in. I'm going to show you this threat. Let me share my screen out here. Here we are. Okay, this is pretty interesting. All right. First time I came across this was from Trusted Sec. I don't know if you guys know them. Really, really cool company. And on their threat blog, they produced this. I think they produced it yesterday, I think. So new attacks, old tricks, how OneNote knows on the 31st, a couple days ago, how OneNote malware is evolving. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like, wait a second, OneNote malware? Like, what? Is OneNote vulnerable? No. The issue here is that bad guys are starting to realize, we've been talking for quite some time, that macros in emails are finally getting better at blocking macros from coming in. Bad guys have leveraged macros forever, right? They send you a Word document. It says it's an invoice. They want you to open said invoice, and it has a macro in it. And even says, please enable macros to be able to see this invoice. And people that are not technical are like, oh, okay, enable macro, open the file. There I go. Bam, they get owned, right? Well, we've been doing a better job as security practitioners. Like, let's just kill macros out. If you're going to email me a Word document, an Excel document's got a macro, nope, just going to block it. I'd rather it be a legitimate one that you have to like say, hey, I tried to send this and it blocked. I'd rather do that and not let any macros through and just force allow certain ones through than just let them all through. So we've been doing a good job of that. And that's hurt bad guys. So what are they doing? They're now turning to OneNote. I kid you not. So let me show you an example of them turning to OneNote. Take a look. So what we're seeing here, this is some analysis of all of this, but what I'm going to do is I'm skip off this deep analysis. You can just see it on Trusted Sec's blog. I actually want to go over here to 4Core. So I really like what 4Core is showing here. This came out a day or so ahead of time. 4Core is a really cool vendor that's doing some stuff around like attack testing, but their blog is really interesting as well. So they're saying hackers are using Microsoft OneNote attachment to use in phishing emails to spread malware, which is pretty interesting, right? The thing that I think is scary about that is so many of us use OneNote, and when's the last time you ever saw OneNote used maliciously? We're just not ready for that. I still got Aaron's wildebeest thing up. Let me close that. It was such a good example, Aaron, that I just couldn't take it off. Okay, so let me bring this back up. So its purpose is to trick recipients into clicking on a malicious link or downloading a malicious file to steal money. According to Verizon, 94% of the malware is delivered by email. Yep, we know that, right? It's still 2023, and phishing and email-based malware and introduction as the initial attack vector is still as prevalent as ever. The overwhelming entry point as ever, which is wild. So we know malicious Word and Excel, it's been around forever. However, in July of 2022, Microsoft blocked macros on all Office by default, which I celebrated. I talked about this on the cyber call. I'm like, I am so excited that we finally turned this junk off. Microsoft has just forced it. It's that important. Well, what does that cause? It causes bad guys to say, well, that's not working so well anymore, so maybe we need to go a different direction. And that's what's happening here. I want to show this to you, all right? So how does OneNote malware work? Well, to summarize, Microsoft OneNote allows, this is the key, it allows users to embed files in a notebook. And that's a business case that makes sense, right? You're storing some documentation from a client meeting, you got this file, you want to pop it in there, right? It makes total sense that you'd want to do that. Well, bad guys have woken up to that and they're like, I could store a malicious file inside that OneNote document, right? So an attacker deceives the user into clicking on the file. I'll show you an example of how that works. And then it's got a payload like a WSF, EXE, VBS. And we're also seeing other attachments as well. And a lot of these are really good at evading antivirus, really good at it. And so that's kind of how this stuff works. It goes, you can see this tweet right here going from an email. The email has a OneNote attachment and it's like, hey, please open this. Same kind of attack tactics, right? Please open this file. Here's some information on our organization. Here's an invoice you need to open, whatever, right? So there you have it. And then it has a WSF file that it tries to entice you to open. It goes and brings up PowerShell and all the nasty happens from there. So I'm curious, anyone seen, probably not, but anyone seen a malicious OneNote email come in yet? I don't know if you have or not, but if you have, pop it into comments because I'd love to hear about it. So that's kind of how it works. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. There's a lot of information here. You can go read up on this if you want to. We're not doing a super technical talk today, but I just wanted you to be aware of this. They even have some VirusTotal kind of, if you don't know VirusTotal, it's basically a way of taking a file, sending it over, it scans it with a bunch of engines, comes back on its maliciousness and how many detect it, that sort of thing. And researchers can use that to go and download those and use them to analyze, which is interesting as well. So I'm going to skip by all this. I'm going to show you kind of an example of how it looks. So let me wait till this is just a repeating GIF. So here's the way it works. You open the OneNote file just like this. And then over there on the right, it says click to view the document. That's the attached file. They're trying to entice you to open it. You double click to open it. And then in this case, it's opening a terminal, a window, right? That's all it's doing here. It's just showing you, oh, I did something. If I could open a terminal window, I could also execute PowerShell, right? I could do that. And so some examples of this as well. So that Trusted Sec shows some other examples of what these look like. So they'll oftentimes kind of look like this. It sort of ghosts out the background. So you're like, oh, that looks like a real file. And then it says double click to view inside of that. And you double click it. And that's again what opens the malicious file. So it's not like super duper malicious. It's not super duper, like sophisticated, but it's effective because we're not ready for it. It's effective because we probably haven't trained our users on this. It's effective because we're probably not educating them on the fact that OneNote, which we use every day and love and sort of trust, can be used maliciously. So now we come to the so what? What do we do about this? Well, you've got to educate your users. You've got to make sure that they are aware this is a threat vector. You might even go and create your own slightly malicious PowerShell embedded in a OneNote and show them how this could work. Or if you're not super technical, then just use this blog from 4Core and say, look, we are seeing the emergence of this. So be careful. If you ever receive a OneNote file over email, you shouldn't open it. Now that brings up the second thing that I think that you should do as a so what. I believe, in my opinion, you should block .one files at the email gateway. I think you should. Just like macros, think about how often do you have a real legitimate business use case for a one file to come in? Probably never. Maybe 0.1% of the time. Well, I would rather have that 0.1% of the time be blocked and them having to message me and say, hey, I'm trying to get this file in. Can you show me how to get it and it's legit? I'd rather do that and have a ticket created than allowing everything in and having to rely on my users, right? So step one is educate your users. Step two is block one files at the gateway, just like you block macros. You've got to do that. Now they do provide some Yara and Sigma rules. These are used for detection. This is for the nerds in the room that want to do detection. If you have a sophisticated MDR, that's what they would use, something like that to actually detect on that. But that is the answer. I think you need to block them at the gateway and you need to train your users. And so again, I want to kind of cycle back to this. The reason that this is important is because you got to be talking to your clients about this. You got to be educating them. You don't have to do everything I just did. But I think clients need to know, hey, we're starting to see an emergence of a new attack vector. Bad guys are always going after you. They want your money. They're going to do everything they can to get access to you so they can run ransomware that's going to cost $1 million, all told. Business email compromise that's going to be close to the same. And so one of the new things they're doing is they're using OneNote. You use OneNote, we use OneNote, we all love it. And so they're putting malicious files in OneNote and emailing it to you. People are like, no way, that's scary. So blocking that is important. That's why we're doing that for you as your MS people. We want you to be aware of it. We want you to know that this is a threat. And we just wanted to teach you this. Just make sure we're here. We got your back. If you ever have more questions about this, let us know, right? Very simple, just like that. Just enough to get them to be like, got it. That makes sense. Thank you for teaching me that. I will certainly be aware of it, right? Boy, a lot of chat that came in earlier. So I'm going to try to get back to that. But hopefully that was helpful. I just wanted to share this because we're starting to see this. And I think it'd be interesting if you guys wanted to search your mail gateways and see if you had any blocked one files come in. You might find something nasty, might find something malicious there for sure. So be very careful of all of that. Eric Woodard checking in. OneNote can easily be exported to PDF as a workaround. That's a great point, right? So like if there is a business case to share like a OneNote file, send that thing to PDF and send the PDF over, right? Because then it's not going to have the file attached. That's a great piece of advice, right? So there's your workaround that Eric just gave you if there is a business use case to have that show up. Exactly. Eric was saying, Eric, thank you. Appreciate you. I've gotten to know Eric over the past couple of months now, and what an awesome person. Eric is doing some amazing things. I don't know if I'm able to slip the word on what he's doing yet, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut other than he's shown me and I'm excited about what he's doing. So maybe I'll just say that, but thank you. He's saying that Empath solves the last mile problem, enabling less tech focused people to explain security to customers who don't get it, don't care about the ones and zeros. Yeah. Thank you. Exactly. Very, very well said. Let me pull back Eric's comment again. Just started Empath. Really, really good content. Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate that. That means a lot. Yeah, we did do one a while back on like 10 legal. So here's the thing about Empath that sometimes I forget, oh yeah, I did some content on that. So what you see is if you join in now, I've had, over a year of content being poured into this. And it's exciting to me, right? Because you never know when someone pulls something up yet and they're like, whoa, this is really cool. I didn't know you had it in there. Yeah. So you'll find a lot of stuff as you start looking and searching and digging in, you'll find some really cool content that's in there. So thank you. Let's see. Oh, I think there's some chat around the weather. Okay. There you go. See, that's why I don't slip out anything. I'm happy to tease it, Eric, and just let people know he's doing something cool. I'll hype it for you, but that's why I try not to open my mouth too much on anything. Just know that Eric is working on some cool stuff that resonates with me, and I think it'll resonate with you. So there you have it. Those are the two big things I wanted to communicate. Be aware of this OneNote thing. I'm curious, again, if anyone's had any visibility into this. Curious if you've educated your clients on it. Curious if you're like, yep, that's a big takeaway, Wes, I'm going to do it. And then also wanted to just tease you a little bit of what we're doing at Empath. And if you have questions for me on it, you want to see some content, you want to get a personal tour into it, I'd be happy to jump you into any of that. Just empathcyber.com/join, and that'll get you in, and message me over and we'll get you started in it. All right, guys. Well, I don't have anything else. I'm going to crank this music back up again. In case you didn't know, it's Friday, which means that the weekend is upon us. And so I hope you guys all have an awesome weekend. I still don't know exactly what I'll all be doing this weekend, but the weather's nice in Tampa. So if it's not nice where you're at, come down and visit us. I think you'll be happier for doing that. But hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. If I can help you in any way, by all means, reach out, and would love to chat with you in any way. Okay, everyone, let your folks know that I released you for the rest of the day. You can say Wes sent me home, and hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Patrick, thank you. I'll be in touch with you as well, my friend. Until next time, my friends, I will talk to you later. Thanks.